It's fucking
called being a grown up.
every single fucking week.
It's called being a grown up. Okay, like any of us, it's fucking grown ups on here. Okay.
So Don, we're just curious. Were you kind of late joining us because you were putting your statue back in the box?
Oh shit!
I'll be back.
Where you going?
Oh,
Gary's get him away.
You hurt his feelings.
You hurt the big old Dominic.
He's gonna come back and be like, "How long are we waiting to use that one?"
either that or he's just gonna sit the statue in front of him.
Right.
That's what happens when you show up late, Dick. He's listening anyway in the back.
Hey, Gary, what does the acronym SMG mean?
It is a sequential manual gearbox.
Okay.
And
Or
it's
a
basically it's a automatic transmission that is shifted like a manual without a clutch, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
What does that have to do when you're commenting on somebody who just got done building a house?
SMG.
Was it perhaps a typo? You were talking about JISC and you're like, new house, new... No, it was about Ace. Ace
It was
had
about
a
what?
flood. And you're like, Ace had a flood in his house? You're like, dude. I don't
Oh, it
know
might have been.
you.
I think it's supposed to be shake my head.
Oh, okay. Just curious.
SMH. Yeah, maybe it was a typo.
I couldn't find a good GIF for SMG, so I couldn't.
And now I took you like everything. I took you literally and bored everybody to death about transmission.
I learned something today.
And I was all worked up. I was like, man, Brian must be doing some research. I was like, good, this is my wheelhouse here. I'm going to help him out. I was like,
He is the analyzer.
Knight of Friends hit the submachine gun. And Halo. Get your SMG. Get your SMG.
That's what
Shaking
I
my
thought it was.
junk with a G.
Oh,
G money. Shaking my G money.
oh, man. All right.
in that G thing.
I can't believe
Yes,
you
it is.
scared this guy away, bro.
Yeah, but what the fuck? I mean, he comes late, like 3 minutes before showtime, and then he hops back out, and we got a minute before we go live. We go, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell?
Well, he had to go get a Diet Pepsi.
Got to get him in before that next wellness challenge, you know. Let's see.
This damn cat standing up.
He's taking up all your screen time, G.
Dude, seriously.
Gary kind of looks weird.
What'd you say?
Kind of look weird. Kind of look like, you know.
Yeah, there's a
Something going
geriatric
on.
animal that
Is he back? Somebody call this dude and tell him to come back. It's 8 o'clock. All right, tell him to come back.
He's trying to take the fucking statue out the box quick. Be like, no, it's not back in the box. Look, it's getting here.
It's not in the box, you fox.
We all know he was really shopping, going toy hunting.
No, Jose, I was not going toy hunting. If you fucks need to know, I was like talking to my mom. Okay, can I fucking talk to my mom?
Aww.
Okay, can I talk to my
Not
mom?
between 8 and 9:30, you can't.
Fuck you, Brian. You cold-hearted motherfucker.
Dude, my stepmom calls and she's like, "Oh my god, are you on your thing? Am I bugging you?" I'm like, "No, we're good. You're good for 10 minutes."
What were you drinking there? Diet Coke? Like Gary
Diet
said?
Pepsi. Diet
okay.
Pepsi. Diet Coke. I only drink Diet Coke if I have to.
I'm drinking Voodoo Ranger.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
That's an IPA.
Is that
Oh, it's IPA, all right, and it looks mythic, so it's.
I had that at
Kind of.
I had that at that bar next to NJCC one time.
the Voodoo? That one?
Same one, yeah.
I get the loose cannon.
You are a loose cannon.
And yes, Gary, my fucking statue is back in the box. Okay, what are you gonna do? Okay? just be happy that you're not next to it in another box. Okay, Gary.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Damn, bro.
We thought you were unpacking it so you could
Don't you have to somewhere to spray tan yourself somewhere? Or...
Damn, dude.
He's been holding that one back for a while, I think. Get him, Gary. Get him. We started early.
See, our viewers don't see our chat, and the chat that we have, it's just gets a little kind of rambunctious a little bit, and we go at each other a lot. So
yeah, and then after that, it's filled of smileys with hearts in their eyes.
Yeah. And then we kiss and make up.
I hate that emoji, man. I hate that. Can I just get one that's like a super thumbs up? Because I don't like smileys with hearts in their eyes. It doesn't seem right.
I'm feeling a kind of way, Brian. Is it because I sent you one of those recently? Damn.
We should change it. No, that's good.
I won't be extremely happy and love my friend. Fine.
Well, no, feel free. Now, I have problems using it myself. Maybe I'm self-conscious.
I know. I noticed that. I've never gotten one from you.
Oh.
Now I feel
it's the love emoji, and love is a strong word, man. You just don't go throwing that around for a snappy comment. You know what I'm saying?
Knights Around just posted one of those. And Josh Fisher too.
Well,
come on, chat, keep posting. Show your love.
Everybody that listens, send Brian a
everybody out. Everybody just text Brian a nice little emoji with the hearts.
Everybody send Brian a heart.
Even the family members that watched, send them his way.
He wants heart-faced emojis.
There he goes. He just posted a bunch of them.
Lots of them.
Wow.
See, that was the only appropriate emoji for the little meme that Gary posted in the chat earlier with the witch was thicker. You know what I'm saying? It has a purpose, Brian. It has a purpose.
And who picked the Wendy's vanilla shake? Come on.
Wait, Wendy's doesn't make a vanilla shake. They're all frosty.
Yeah.
Well, got technical there. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
To me, that's just
Brian's right.
Analyze. Sorry. Dude, Mr. Crashbox is making a display piece for me. Also, you might know as a diorama. And I emailed him today. I texted him. I was like, I hate to be a penalizer, but could you change this?
giving him concept design changes mid stroke, Brian.
It's actually surprising how well it came out, since there's no planning whatsoever.
Nice.
Talking about dioramas, Gary, did you put your request in? And the one that we talked about for your an Iron Man Mark IV?
No, so we actually I commissioned a different piece for 1/12 scale stuff based on some product that Chris got in. So I'm pretty excited for what that turns into. And he made fun of me because, again, my request wasn't plain and simple like everybody else. It was pretty a bit out. It was a bit eccentric, I guess we'll say. So,
well, the one that we were talking about was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good one too, I think.
Did anyone catch that Gary said stifferent?
No,
yeah, exactly.
no.
I was trying to think of which adjective would best fit that request.
I think stifferent's pretty good.
I'll use that one.
Is that a
smile you put on JD's face? All right. Well, what's up, everybody? And welcome to episode 46 of Breaking the Mold. We come to you here live each and every single week on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. I'm Harrick and BX. Let's say what's up officially to the rest of the crew. First up, the Painalizer, Brian Brink.
The Painalizer. Hey, speaking of pain, have you guys seen the news on romaine lettuce?
No.
What is it?
The CDC just put something out, said throw it all out, because otherwise you got the evil eye, which equals pain later.
Gary, what are you gonna eat now?
Just romaine?
Yes.
Yeah, it was just romaine.
Okay.
Gary, what are you gonna eat now?
I was just about to say, like, Brian's giving us a warning, but who does he think in this panel is eating lettuce? Like,
yo, Gary.
Well, it's
Gary. I'm eating lettuce. You don't think I mean a lettuce, Gary?
Yeah, lettuce on your burger doesn't count. That's not what he meant. Like, you know.
I put romaine lettuce on my
Sesame seed buns
with cheese,
special sauce,
and tomatoes.
There, Gary, you got to give me the lettuce on the burger.
And 1,000 Islands dressing. What is up? It's a salad in the burger.
Well, it's funny because I went to lunch out to lunch today, and I usually get a Caesar salad with my thing, and I was feeling like, I've been doing good with this intermittent fasting. I get some tater tots instead. But no, in my family chat, they sent it out. And I read it, and I was like, damn. So I start sending gifts. Like I found a gift called Seizure Salad. That was pretty good. I didn't get any laughs on that one, but then I came back with Cease Your Salad. And I got a laugh on that pun. So it was pretty good. Yeah. From my intellectual sister-in-law's father. Yeah, so I was pretty proud.
I heard there was a thing going around about salmonella in turkey. Is that a thing going on? Did you guys?
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
Well, isn't there salmonella in like every bird?
Yes, if you don't cook it correctly. Yes.
Oh, man.
I'm just glad that Brian didn't fight any more oatmeal pots lately.
Oh God.
Well, he's got that glove now. Somebody
yeah. Paul C got me an oven mitt and instant oatmeal. I've yet to go back. Only one time, It's, shame on me.
All right.
Just a heads up, chat Wingham only eat meat. You only eat.
I'm glad that he came out of the closet.
And it's all capitalized.
They call that.
Meat is all capitalized.
I gotcha.
With 1, 2, 3,
Congratulations, my friend.
8 exclamation
Lots of exclamation points.
Yeah. Meat.
All right.
And meat.
Big Dom, what's going on, man?
Not much.
Can you enlighten us to what you were doing, up until 7:57 p.m.?
I was talking to my mom, dude. What she called, and
that was
Thanksgiving is a couple of days away. So
you're
saying you
giving
don't
her the
speak to her on
rundown.
holidays?
No, I speak to her, every Tuesday night, right before at 7:30.
Oh man. So
do I have to get my mom on this fucking call? Because I get Mama G. I get Mama G right up on this fucking call right now. And she'll tell you. She'll put you all in your place.
New segment, Mom's Dom. 30 minutes with Mom's Dom. Mom's Dom. Dom's Mom.
There you go. Take that voodoo, buddy. It's that voodoo. Buddy. Take another swig.
Mama Dom.
Pepsi.
Mama Dom and
No, it's cool. It's cool. Last week we had that snowstorm. Kind of got out early that day, and then I had all hands on Friday. We were supposed to do one of those escape places, those escape plan things, where you all get put in, like eight of your friends get put into a room, and you get a scenario, and then you basically have to escape the room. So my VP for all like team building type of exercise and our outing, he signed us up to do that at a place, and I guess since not a lot of people came into work because of all the 5 hours it took to get home the following night, he kind of canceled everything. So at like 2:00 he let us all out Friday again, so early. So it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. So that was set up through work, like a you said, a team building
exercise? Yeah. Like we usually have like an outing for once a year. Like my VP, just to say thank you to everybody and kind of good night, thanks for the hard work and all this stuff and shit. So
nice.
Usually we do picnics. I think last year we went to Top Golf, and this year was somebody suggested us to go to a place and do that like escape room stuff. So.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that was like a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, but it's got canceled. So because pretty much nobody came in the next following day. They just took their floaters or worked from home, and he didn't really want to push the issue or only have half the team to come. So he just canceled it. And anybody who was at the office, he told at 2:00 you can get out of here.
All right.
So.
Nice.
It was fun. It's fun, but a relaxing weekend and everything else.
Did you get jammed up in that snow, Dom?
I did. It took me about 3.5 hours to get home.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and it was funny because my boss, my director, actually, it starts snowing around here like around 1:30, and then my director like sent out an email around 2:15. You know, head home, be safe, call me, text me when you get home, blah 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 blah. And I like literally, me and my coworker Jet, we like ran to the garage, and that's great that somebody's watching us. And I'm hearing my voice. It's wonderful. I just love hearing myself. But like by the time I got out of the garage, which was like, I was happy that there was no traffic because I like got out of the garage and driving down Main Street out of Newark, and then all of a sudden, 2 lights away from the highway, it was backed up, and there was a hill that goes over to an overpass, and like 6 cars were just trying to get it up the hill, and they couldn't get up the hill. They were just. So what's up, Brian?
I took because Dust got jammed up really bad. Like he didn't get home till like 11 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
So I took a screenshot of Google Maps traffic that night.
Oh my god,
7:30. I mean, it's green everywhere except for right there. Oh shit! I was just like, holy crap,
dude! I heard there was an accident on the GW, causing like major delays, and everybody else, I guess, was trying to get over the other bridges, and the New Jersey Turnpike was like a fucking parking lot for like 4 hours. So
yeah, look at New York. It's that dark red, the whole city.
Dude, I didn't even try to bother calling the cab that night. I was like, let me just walk home like I usually do, and I got home in 45 minutes. Like it was a little bit tougher, walking in the snow. But the
problem is that it was cold. Like it was cold all that the day prior. It was cold throughout the night, and like so when it started snowing, it just stuck, and there was no nothing done, no treatments on the roads, no nothing. So it's like just the inch of snow that fell that first half hour, it just caused a mess.
Yeah.
So like, did they not expect that to happen in New Jersey year after year? I mean,
exactly. Like last year, it was like anytime there was any type of snow or anything, there was treatment on the road the night before. Like, what I'm saying? Like the roads were already treated, everything was already set up. It's like, so this time around, they just said, well, fuck it, we just won't do it. So
yeah, even here they didn't do anything. Yeah, Jose, I could only imagine. So when I saw what was going on in New York City, because it all like really hit during rush hour, I couldn't think but think of that movie, the Day After Tomorrow. Remember when it's just like cars jammed up and people are like, well, fuck this,
we're gonna walk. And just certain people were doing that. They like a bus couldn't make it up a hill, and they finally just slides to the side of the road, and everybody got out of the bus and started walking because they obviously knew that the bus was not going to make it for the next 4 hours. So
I heard
they got out.
Gas stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, traffic wasn't moving anywhere here in the city. Like people, that live a few miles away, it took them 7-8 hours to get home.
How long it took you, Dave? You like live only a couple miles away from work.
It still took me 45 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's usually like a
10 minutes or 12 minutes.
Drive.
Yeah.
It was more so everybody just being extra cautious. Like, I didn't see any accidents or anything on the way home. It was just everybody driving real slow.
Well, that's good. That's what people should be doing when it's like that. That's what causes the accidents when people don't slow down. So
listen, man, you got some good music, gas in your car, and you got something to puff on. I'm good. Like, you know what?
Sure, that won't cause an accident.
I hope when I get home, man. Fucking shit.
Well, what's up, Dave? What's going on, brother?
Same shit, man.
Dave wasn't driving his car. He was mushing some huskies. Yeah. Mush.
It's funny though. You say that day, right? I never really leave the office for lunch, but that day I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take a break and go sit in the car for a little while. Get out of the office, get some air. And it didn't snow. It was probably like about 12:30. It hadn't started. You seen like little, flakes, 1 or 2 falling here and there. Within like 40 minutes of them, I looked outside, my car already had a coat on it.
Yep.
An hour later, it was like an inch or 2 on it. I was like, oh, fuck. But, yeah, man. I got stuck in that. I think I spoke to you, right?
Yep, you called me.
We spoke, right, for a little bit.
I was still on the road.
Yeah, shit. So how do you deal with that though? Like, are you ever scared that you're gonna run out of gas?
No, it's just like at one point I was on 22, Route 22, and two 18-wheelers literally got stuck on a hill. They couldn't move, and cars, the way we were going, like cars finally just went into a car dealership and drove around, like was able to go through the car dealership and get around them, and that's kind of how, things were. It was like if nobody figured out an alternate route. Like I remember my friend said people were just doing illegal U-turns and stuff like that, driving down the road on the Soldier just to get out of the road, to go off the road on some occasions. So it can get hectic if you're jammed up. And like Newark after 4 o'clock, they said he was unable to get out because nobody was the road that get out of Newark, certain roads to get out of Newark, it was already jam packed because people couldn't get up the hills that were the overpasses that were getting out of the city. So it's like it was ridiculous.
Word.
It took my sister 6 hours for her, 6.5 hours for her. It took them just an hour to get out of the garage. They quit, like the first time they quit, and her and her friend that they were commuting went into like a coffee shop and had a coffee, and then came back out and tried it again.
Nice.
So it's
all that, and the next day that shit was all gone.
Yeah, all gone. Yeah, all gone.
It's like 60 fucking degrees.
It's like it never happened. Yep.
Gary, you can't say that though, right? You still have snow, right?
Albany.
What'd you say?
I said you can't say that, right?
No, dude, it's snowed every day except every day since Friday up here.
Because Albany gets a little bit of that lake effect too, a lot of the times.
Yeah, it's we got like 8 inches Friday, and then kind of let up a little bit, and then it just every day it's been snowing some more. Didn't get too much accumulation today, but it's just been like literally like snowing every day.
So
that's great. I got that to look forward to.
Gary, now that you're not a homeowner, do you just like sit back in the window with a nice vitamin water and watch the other people slave as they shovel out your house?
I don't. You know why? Just because of what I do for a living. Even though I don't have a house to worry about so much here, I've got a lot with 250 cars on it. So, just deal with that process, at that scale is quite time consuming.
Explain it. Like, do you guys do it yourself, or do you hire somebody to fucking...
Oh, no, we do it ourselves. So I've got a fleet. I say a fleet, but, we'll rent like a skid steer for the small stuff, and like a giant bucket loader, like a huge construction, the property's that big. And then, you got to brush cars and move them and plow and then put them back and then do another row, kind of repeat the same thing. It's pretty labor intensive for that. Because it's business. You can't sell what's covered in snow, so.
Gary, you drive that big thing?
I've driven the big one. Believe it or not, the big one is, I'll take a picture next time, is easier to drive than the little skid steer because the giant bucket loader is very simple to operate, and it has a steering wheel and it has a backup camera. The little one is like those joysticks. Yeah. So it definitely takes a lot more practice and finesse for the little one. So
is the little one like a Bobcat? You mean like
exactly? Yeah. It's just like a little Bobcat. Yep.
Right. Is this a new thing you got to be dealing with, though, G? All the snow and the
I've done it before. I've had one break just in my career, which was last year. And then besides that, I've always been either in New England, and then I was in the Chicago market before. So you've always had some winter stuff, but I have a feeling that this part of the country, being the upstate part of New York, will be, it'll be interesting for sure. So in terms of just the continuousness of it throughout the season.
Yeah.
Well, he's in that sixth borough, that sixth borough gets a lot of stuff.
Exactly. I was just going to say, I was like, it's New York, right? Yeah.
The sixth borough is deep.
Pretty close. Pretty close to Montreal.
Sorry, because of the weather.
I will say,
was low key.
Yeah, no, it was pretty uneventful. and it's like I'm getting a little bit older too. So even when you're out kind of like moving around and stuff, I'm like, I feel it. I feel it every time, you're out there.
Gary's cooped up in a Lincoln Continental taking a nap.
Oh, dude, let me tell you. So, just real quick, and it's so boring for everybody who's listening, but certain cars, right? So I've got my big Jeep, which is all cleaned up and tucked away in my garage. I'm like, I can't bring it out. It's gonna get all covered in salt and crap and stuff. So I'm driving the demo car, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee is my go-to winter vehicle. But between remote start, heated seats, and a heated steering wheel, yeah, you're right, Dom. It will put you to sleep behind the wheel. I was like, oh,
gotta be careful when you get to those traffic light stops.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And it's like the hotter you make the inside, the hotter the steering wheel gets. I'm like, oh, I just want to, take a little nap right here. Definitely is the case.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a big concern on those long drives. Got to be careful. Yeah. So, all right, JD, what's going on, man?
Things and stuff.
Things and stuff.
Things and stuff and things.
Yes.
Are you connected to the Matrix now?
I am.
Awesome.
I would like to go back in. Yeah. I don't want to.
How does it feel to be a servant? Back in. How does it feel to be plugged back in?
I mean, it's good to see the page.
A steak never tasted any better, Right?
Yeah. How does the brain know that steak?
Yeah.
How do you know if chicken tastes like chicken?
Shut up and enjoy being a battery, you motherfucker.
Fucking copper topper.
Yeah. This morning I woke up and I was like, Facebook notifications from JD, like liking photos from TFCon and stuff. I was like,
from a month ago. It's kind of sad. It was nice having that, that
unplugged.
Just being. It was nice. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it's like a time machine for JD. It's like 1995, right?
Nah, if it wasn't for my job and like trying to keep up with clients and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't have social media. And if it wasn't for the realm, I wouldn't have it.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, how did it affect like business? Because I'm sure everybody just keeps in touch so easily.
It's been a little rough. So,
yeah,
but. Whatever. I'm making it happen.
Yeah.
Somehow. So
nice.
Just don't buy as much, That's all.
But did you see that was another thing too, besides being unplugged or whatever? Like, where you saw you wasn't making as many purchases because you're not just like, all right.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely was not making the purchases I would have rather been making.
I was picking up your slack then, because I've been the past couple of weeks.
That's all right. We got to spread the love. Got to get somebody's got to take them Baldwin drops.
Yeah. Well, it's like phases, man. We all go through them. JD just went a few weeks without his phone. Brink picked up his slack as far as shopping is concerned. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of shopping going on, this coming weekend. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that real quick. Some phases that we go through in our lives, in our collecting.
Pew, pew,
pew. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, we spoke a lot, I think, last week about the Mythic Legions and stuff like that. And it almost could be argued, I think, maybe, I think you guys would probably have a different opinion. But it could be argued that even that's a phase. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of hype around that and those figures like now, and it's like anything else. A few months ago it was like the Pacific Rim figures were a big hype and everybody was jumping on them, and now not a peep. You know what I'm saying? So what would you guys consider like a phase? Would you consider this Mythic Legions thing that you guys are all in on a phase? I consider no, because you guys have been in on this for like at least a year or so. And there's no signs of you guys like slowing down on it. So I think that constitutes a little bit more than a phase. But what do you guys think in the long run, and as in regards to the Mythic stuff or anything else in your collection? Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, so it's come up a lot on a lot of the shows on the Cool Table Network. I think that term, it's kind of like anything else, it becomes trendy to use it. But I think it's like you said, the longevity of something. So your interest may ebb and flow a little bit, right? And Dave's talked a lot about how he'll go from like figure arts to hot toys to Transformers and then kind of back to hot toys. And I think we've all done things like that. But to me, like something that's a phase is probably more. I almost would know when I'm buying it that this isn't something that I'm going to keep, and it's filling that drive or that boredom type of type of purchase. Like for me, like Marvel Legends are a phase type purchase for me, where it's kind of something to find in the store, and there's only a couple of specific characters I might think I'd ever really want to keep, and eventually end up recycling them and doing something else. But I think that's kind of the key part there, I think, is a bit of longevity. And you're right, like we'll just use it because that's a recent example. But the Mythic Legions is something that, we saw really a couple shows ago, right? So like a year and a half at ToyCon, seeing them in firsthand. And then of course, I think a phase is something that's limited, that maybe isn't as available. I don't know, that you don't have access to quite as much. So it's kind of maybe contributes to it being a temporary interest a little bit more, potentially. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you probably have a little bit of not, I don't want to say better insight, but a more unique insight, because you're the type of collector that you don't feel the need to be like a completionist. Where a lot of guys on the panel will kind of go all in on a line. You kind of cherry pick your pieces. So it almost can be said like, is that a phase for you? Like, what I'm saying? Like, you'll pick up a couple of these masterpieces here. You'll pick up a couple of pieces from a line over here and not really like go all in. It's almost can be argued like, is that a phase like you're going through and stuff? But that's just the way you are as a collector, no?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's just a little bit more of how I personally collect. But you're right. It's when you don't go all in, it is easier to transition or shift your interest, I think. Or if you don't have that natural tendency. So like Dom, right? You're a good example. You admit all the time, right? You like to be the completionist.
Yeah, I don't
I
phase.
think, yeah. So I think by not having that mentality maybe makes you open-minded to trying a new line or trying a figure or a character, or being, whether it has a fiction to go with it or a backstory or an emotional attachment, you might be more prone to just try it because it looks cool, or, you think it might kind of just fit your aesthetic for how you display.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good point for that. Look, I'm definitely guilty of being the collector that has bought something a bit out of boredom or curiosity, and then enjoyed the experience of having it and then passing it on and kind of moving on to something else.
Yeah, I think we all could say that probably. And is anybody kind of going through that now? Like where maybe the things that you collect on a regular basis, there's a little bit of a lull, so you kind of pick something else up in the meantime to kind of like feed that need. Is anybody else going through that?
I think that's important. I mean, for me, I'm looking around the room. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I could constitute as a phase, But
it's tough,
me,
right?
It's like, all right, 1 week I'm like high on Transformers, right? Next week I'm engulfing fucking Mythic Legions. Then for a while, I'll probably pick up the Hot Toys again and pick up, a week later I'll pick up something else. Like, it's just. That's why I like the variety of having, a different collection. I mean, I get it. Some people, you only like one fiction, you stick to it. You might save a lot of money that way too, which is great because, this habit for me, I do have months when I'm like, shit, I can't eat fucking lunch this week. Like, I'm eating fucking peanut butter and jelly for fucking 3 out of 5 days a week,
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right. But, I don't think my mind is capable of doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, some of this stuff I might have picked up on a whim. Like I've been like, oh, I'll check that out. Like Mythic Legions, for example. And how many times did we walk by that? We've been to that con for what, 2 years now? The first year we were there, we went twice and walked by them twice. We're like, we don't know about this stuff. And now now we're the first ones online. We're fucking calling each other, you guys are vendors now. You guys are by the table, right? You got a fucking spot for us, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know what really constitutes a phase. I know that I do fall out of love with things, but it takes some time. Like, I sold all my GI Joe stuff. I like that stuff, for a period, when it was out, when it was coming out in whatever, late 2000s, mid 2000s, and I just never opened them. So I never got to enjoy them. So they were all inbox, new. I always planned to, but then other things came out after, and I realized that that probably wasn't going to work. Something that scale, that small for me.
What sparked you to get those at the time? Like, can you recall like what it was that drove you to get them?
I was making money again. I had a career. I had the capability of buying stuff, and I wanted to reconnect with my childhood. Like, when I started buying the GI Joe stuff, it's when the Transformer stuff just started coming out too. The classic stuff and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of that. What do you guys say? What is that? Chug? Consider Chug. And then once Masterpiece came out, I started, buying that, and that's when I started actually opening my toys. When Masterpiece came out and fussing with them. Before that, they were all in box. Because I really just wanted them just to have them again. Because I had them as a kid, so I wanted to check them out. I might have opened one or two, but not the dozen or so of each line that I had. But I fell out of that stuff. So I mean, this all might be a phase, but I don't know what constitutes a phase. I don't know how long a phase is, because if a phase is a year or 2 years, 3 years, I might be in multiple phases for a while.
Yeah, I guess that always can be argued. Like, how long, can it be? I always just kind of like the way I'm thinking about it, almost like in the context of this discussion, is that it like a fad, like something that you kind of pick up and then you just kind of get out of right away. Like, but do you see yourself turning over a lot of your stuff, Dave? Like, do you pick up things and then sell them? Like, not often, right?
Nah, I mean, with the NJCC that we've been having, I do pick up more stuff that I'm like, if I haven't picked this up in the last 6 months and I look at it and say, you know what, I need you, I'm going to get rid of you. So you're gone. So like the next one coming up, I may not have much to sell because most of that stuff is gone. Yeah. Now the stuff that I have, and now that I'm putting it out, even some of the stuff I sold, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I might have kept because I'm like, you know what, it would have been cool if I could have displayed that somehow, but space, space is a big thing, what do they call it? Real estate, real estate in the toy collecting, but
and as far as displaying stuff, I would think anything that's a little bit more modern, it sure looks a little bit better, is probably you're going to be more keen to display that stuff than things you bought 10, 15 years ago.
But if you go to like Dust Mites, right? You go to his crib or you go to JD's and they have all the GI Joes. Still on the fucking on the card.
Point. Yep, that's a good point.
Just look cool, and you could pick it up, read the back. You don't have to play with it because it's not the greatest toy in the world. It's not going to do everything you want it to do, but it looks cool in the package like that. That's how you remember having them.
Yep,
Yeah.
In a sense, I do and don't regret selling them. Like, do I need them? No. Would it have been cool? Yeah, but you know what? I could enjoy that in one of these guys' houses now. That's the way I look at it.
You're welcome anytime, buddy.
Right. That was a phase you went through. That was a phase you went through, and now you're done. So all right, that's cool. That's cool. Anybody else?
I think Transformers are a phase.
Me too.
I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to stir some. Now, myself, I go through phases. Like Dave said, 1 month I'm all about these. It's something new comes out in a different line, and then I'm all about those. And my taste jumps from line to line. So I wouldn't necessarily say the line itself, the toys themselves aren't a phase. I think it's more or less so you pick something up and you mess with it for a little bit and you flip it, you get rid of it. That I think the collector is more of the phase. It's what phase that they're in at the moment. You know what I mean? When they purchase these. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Everybody's looking like
It's like collector ADD.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like 1 minute you fucking love it, the next minute you're like, what the fuck am I doing with this thing?
Yeah.
You guys keep bringing up like the Pacific Rim. Like, yeah, I put them on a shelf. I messed with them for a couple weeks. I put them on a shelf. I still have them. I didn't get rid of them.
Did you go in
because
there?
I know. I know. No, I didn't go. Fuck that thing. But I know there's gonna be a day that I'm like, I want to watch these movies. These movies are great. And then I'm gonna watch them, and I'm gonna want to sit there, and I'm gonna want to mess with them. And I mean, I have a list of like dios that I'm gonna build, and there's gonna be one for them, and that's on the list because I want to display them. They look fucking great. But
see, so again, so using Pacific Rim as an example, the stuff we picked up, a lot of that stuff. I mean, some of us did. Some of us picked up that stuff that was coming out at the time, but there's not like a lot of things coming out as far as figure wise, like for that franchise. So is it almost our fault to say like, hey, we went in on it and we got it and we picked it up? Like, can that be considered a phase because we're not talking about it because they're not really putting out any more product of that stuff? That's the reason why we're not picking any more of it up. So can that
fair?
Be
that's fair. Yeah.
You can say it's not completely your fault for phasing out that collection because the product's not coming out anymore for it.
Well, the thing is too with that, it had a very limited fiction. It had a movie that came out a few years ago that nobody really gave a fuck about until the second one dropped.
I did.
I mean, it was good. It was, for what it was okay. It was a good movie, but then the second one came out, and you're like,
I bought all the NECA toys,
shit,
man.
there's two Pacific Rims, and now they're coming out with more characters, and and the toys were fairly cheap, were they not?
True.
So were they $20 a I picked up one, the main one,
They
and
were
I picked that up because of you all fucking picked it up. And I'm like, what's the big deal with these fucking things? And they look cool. And I picked it up, yeah.
At the same time, they came out during when Toys R Us was going through their clearances too. So it's like they gave you a reason to go to Toys R Us as well.
I think I encourage phasing because I think it's essential in collecting because you need to. You might have one love, say, Transformers is your love, but, as collecting, sometimes we lose interest or the water does tend to dry out in regards to what's coming out. So I don't, unless you make it interesting or unless you keep that interest, sometimes your interest gets low. And I think if you don't dive into other lines or do a phase and let me see what this is all about, and it might not be for you and you phase out and you leave it alone, but if you don't, then you'll never know. So I think it should be encouraged in regards to collecting, and I know that sometimes phasing, when people speak about it, it comes into a negative perspective, but I really feel like it's us as collectors, we like to collect, and for me, it was originally Transformers, but then I did branch out to other things just to keep my interest in collecting peaked, so I don't have to go into a doldrum and say, what am I doing this for, and all of a sudden do a stupid thing and sell everything that I have in Transformers because I just feel like it's a waste of time. So it's I think as a collector you need to diversify your collecting, as you can say, so you keep your interests, constantly moving. Like Dave said, he can move from one line to another line, and it keeps his interest. So at the end of the day, he loves whatever collection he has in its due time, and he falls back in love with it. And once that comes back again, like Transformers, like you said, like when we went to TF Con, we Transformers came back to light and he fell in love with them again and he started buying some more up. So I think it's essential in regards to collecting. So
yeah, I mean, like sometimes you got to switch off. You got to use the left and you got to use the right. I told you this a few shows ago.
Got to keep it interesting. So phasing is all a part of it. Getting into a line that you might typically not consider in collecting, but you go in because there's some interest, and if the interest is there and it's piquing your interest and you're really liking whatever the collection's about, you know, like Mythic Legions, then that phase turns into one of your hardline collections, and you're going to keep collecting it from this point forward. But then there's times where, you know, that interest you know phases out, and you might consider that type of the collection a phase collection. But I think it's encouraged, because, you know, if you didn't do that, you would never get yourself involved or never know what was out there.
Yeah, and that all comes with like maturing and knowing, like kind of like what we like to collect and where you're gonna kind of put your resources like into. And as always, that comes with experience and with picking up those other lines and maybe realizing, like, oh, I'm not into this, I'm not gonna pick this up anymore, and then thus you can consider that a phase. I love that fucking word you use, dude. Diversify, like stocks. Stocks and bonds.
Like,
shit, you know
I'm a business guy at heart, but like, you know, I love numbers, and, you know, when you're doing a 401k and you're saving up and you're diversifying yourself in stocks.
Speaking about diversifying,
you ain't saving shit, Dom.
What did he say? What the fuck?
What?
What is
Hey there, everybody.
This sexy hunk of man.
Hurry up, Lux. You only got 30 minutes.
I only got 30 minutes. Oh,
around 30 minutes.
That's fine. We had a short night from Shattercast, and I forgot, man. I told old Energon, I was like, man, I'll do it, and then I forgot we recorded tonight, but it was real short tonight.
You know why it was a short night, right?
Because I'm short.
No, because they need to diversify. Get
They do that. It's about diversify. Come on, get in. Sorry, go on, speak. I'm sorry, I'm here.
No. I encourage phasing, because I think it definitely gets people into other things, and you'll find out whether it's for you or whether it's not for you. And don't let anybody, tell you that, you know, whatever you're getting into is a phase, because at the end of the day, that phase might be something that you're going to love for a long time. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'll just say this though. I think like when you're in the community and you have like true friendships, people will know. Dave was with me at ToyCon, right? And at TFCon. And I was looking at stuff and I was asking his opinion on things. And he flat out would say, what are you looking to do? Are you just bored? Just feel like you need to buy something else before you go home for the day? And I was like, you're right. Like the last three things.
He knows. We know you, Gary. So it's
it's not even that. I was trying to be more like him, because he's doing that to us. He's like, you know, you're gonna fucking sell that next week.
I'm all for, you know, I don't know, keeping an open mind, but you don't want to be frivolous either. Even if you have the means to do it, it's it's something else to think about too. So it's one thing to have a new interest, right, or take that in, but you don't want to be wasteful, I think, with it. And I think that's where sometimes the collecting mentality of the, like, you know, that fear, what's the acronym, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? Or, you know, every once in a while you get the fear of something being sold out and, you know, paying more for it later on. Sometimes I admire people who just don't care about something that you know, everybody else is all worked up about. I'm trying to think of an example, I guess, maybe where that would apply.
Mythic Legends.
well, Matt, we were actually talking about it. So let's welcome Deluxe to Breaking the Mold, man. Right. Thank you for hopping on.
Yay! What's up, Matt?
I am honored, and I had the privilege to be with some of my favorite people to hang out with, man.
Oh, dude,
buddy.
Thank you.
That's everybody but Dom.
Yeah.
Take that, Dom. That picture behind Dom. I want that picture behind Dom's head.
You want my wedding picture?
This is a wedding picture.
It's a wedding picture.
But dude, thank you for taking the time. And we were just discussing like maybe like phases that we go through in our collecting and life in general. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's kind of been touching and giving their points. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, you're a big Transformers collector, but you dabble in other things. Is there anything that you're kind of collecting or anything that you could look back on that you consider like a phase throughout your collecting life?
Yeah, Marvel Legends was a phase. I went through it a couple of times with the beginning, with all that stuff, and then I got into it again. And now my so-called phase of Bubby says I do the NECA horror films, horror figures and everything. So, and I don't think it's a phase. I really like them. I've always wanted, and I've stated it before, I've always wanted a representation of those slasher movies that I always grew up with as a kid and I loved. And now that NECA is coming out with these ultimate versions, and they're really affordable too. You know, they're like $30, which, you know, it can add up. But if you get certain figures that you want, and I'll be done. I don't think I'll be selling these. The Marvel Legends was a phase, I think, but I'm really enjoying these NECA horror films or horror figures. And I got a new one yesterday. I got the Friday 13th Part 2. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to looking at that. And so, yeah.
Matt, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Dude, how do you sleep at nights restfully with all that stuff in your house like that? That's creepy. I couldn't do it.
Dude, you know what? I sleep in my room all the time, so I have like, you know, thousands and thousands of eyes looking at me anyway. So it's not too bad.
Man, how do you maintain an erection that way? I don't know.
It's not that hard, really. You know.
So you're saying, Matt, Deluxe
it's a turn on, actually.
He's
like that dude in what's that movie with Christian Bale, Psycho, when he's like flexing, like
I'm saying Deluxe has a future in pornos because he has no problem people watching him. So
I do.
He can perform when under pressure.
I do want to go, man. I bought an Optimus mask for Belisa. So
there you go.
Talk about that role play.
Optimus Prime, we have an
come over here, little one.
Off with your head. But no, I mean phases. You know, when Jose was on, I talked. We touched base about the Mythic Legend stuff and everything, and that it's just the new Pacific Rim for everybody, because you know. For just a little bit, everybody in RC was posting Pacific Rim, and then now you don't see jack shit on Pacific Rim.
Well, Deluxe, you bring up something. So going back to your horror stuff, like, is it really a phase when this is a collection that has an end? I mean, because obviously they'll make all the characters from the movie, and then, I mean, but if you don't sell them, is it really just a phase, or is it just this is just something I got to get done here real quick?
I never thought it was a phase. Your boy Bubba called it a phase, and he was talking about me and Greg. With Greg, you know, to be honest, Greg does go through some phases. You know, he buys stuff, and and Bobby's talked about it on Shattercast about he just wants to look at stuff, and which is fine. That's cool. He wants to look at stuff, and if he doesn't like it, he'll sell it. Won't think twice about it. Me, I don't like selling a lot of stuff. Like I did sell my Marvel Legends, and it was kind of hard at first, but I don't have any room. And the wife says only one. I'm lucky to have this stuff. I only have one collection, so I'm lucky to find this stuff. So I'm not pushing my limits. So and it's not taking up a lot of space. I have a bookshelf for it. So I don't think it's a phase. I think it's just something I've always wanted. And I'm a big slasher fan, slasher movie fan, and I love this stuff. So
when it comes to Mythic Legions, Legions that is. So the Pacific Rim figures, there were what, 6, and then that was it, right? And then, but the thing is that these Mythic Legions, there could be no end, right?
There you go, Brian. Tell him, Brian.
Not only that, they are encouraging you to swap out parts and make your own and stuff like that. And also, there's no fiction, therefore no fandom to pollute the brand, right?
Well,
the Transformers and Star Wars and all that other stuff, right? I mean, you can just make it all up on your own.
And aren't they doing like doesn't Pinkerton have like some ones that look like He-Man figures, kind of?
Yeah, I've got one.
They do like homages to other characters.
He-Mans,
yeah.
I don't think it's a phase. I just brought it up because a lot of people are posting pictures, and you got other people that are joining the bandwagon. So I mean, I don't think it's a phase. I just proposed a question: is it going to be a phase like Pacific Rim? But like you just said, it doesn't have a fiction. It doesn't have it. It could not have it into it. So it could be something that people could eventually go.
Those are fighting words, Deluxe. You're breaking the mold, and look at the fucking face.
Who on here collects the Mythic? I know Brian does. Does anybody else?
I do.
Yeah,
everybody else on this panel.
Everybody except me.
I'm pretty sure.
I do too.
I'm pretty sure that
I got him.
I'm pretty sure I'm the face starter. I don't know.
Okay, so who So who found? So JD, you were the first one to like start collecting these, like around on this panel.
What happened was at ToyCon one year they had the birds, and some of us bought those birds, and that's kind of how it went. And then when we realized that they did other things other than birds, and we saw that they were more the mythic type of characters, like elves and skeletons and Vikings and gladiators and stuff like that. We're like, eventually when they started doing the Colosseum wave, more of us started jumping on it, and and the birds weren't anything too crazy. Like there was one or two that were really great. Brian jumped on a bunch of them.
I got 3.
So I think Chuck bought a couple of them, and I remember we all went back to exactly, and we went back to Dust's house and we fooled around with them, and they were great figures. And then just once the Coliseum wave came around, it was game over. Like a lot of us just jumped right in.
For me, like one of my like I've said this on the show before, like I would love to have a 6-inch scaled Dungeons and Dragons, like the cartoon characters, from the 80s. And these figures were very reminiscent of looking like that on purpose many times. And JD's taken it like to another level because he's actually made the characters. But I blame Brian Brink because he gifted me a character. I held my hands at one of the shows, and I decided not to buy it because Jose was being a great friend. He was I was doing a pickup from him at that event, so I was spending a good chunk of money already. And so I left it, and then Brian went back that Sunday, as he now does repeatedly, and picked it up and brought it to Skullfest, and that kind of opened it up for me. And I was like super appreciative, but it was really, really, just a cool character, and it kind of hit that vibe. So that's kind of where it hit for me, where there's fiction and you can read about the characters and realize they're fantasy pieces, but it kind of fills a gap for something that I think I really wanted myself. We all have kind of like a dream toy, right, that we'd like to see at some point in time.
Let me ask a question. What are I got 2 questions. First of all, if they ever make Captain Planet ones, I'm in. Second, what's the price ranges for these things?
They're 25 to 35 retail.
Yeah.
Will it vary
directly for the 4 Horsemen? They range from 25 to 35,
22.
And 22, and then there's like deluxe figures that are 45, and then the big trolls are like $100. So. But on the secondary, that's the original price if you get them directly from 4 Horsemen.
And there's a small window to do so.
There's a very small window, small supply. Very small supply. And then at the end of the day, that secondary market just goes out of control.
I mean, it's like triple, at least. Yes.
And BBTS would put them on their site, but they're already marking them for like $50. Gotcha. So they're pricing them from 35 from a regular figure, which is averaged on 35. They're pricing them at $50, which is like already a markup right there. So, and when they sell out on BBTS, you're going to the eBay and you're paying $70 to $150 to almost $200 for certain 1.0 figures that they first kicked out.
No, Dom might be paying.
Listen, Gary. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You did.
And I'll say at $35, man, these things are a steal considering how well they are and the accessories that you get.
The paint
at $50, and the paint but at $50 they're a good value.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I say about the NECA figures too. They're they're $27-$30. Really good sculpts. The details are so good on things, and they do come with a lot more accessories now. So, but I mean, and the secondary. They're still, they still around that same price, but some of the older ones, and they got a Michael Myers coming out real soon, so I'm really excited about that. And I mean, like a Pinhead and a Leatherface and stuff. So
But like JD, you agree with me if you do. Like they're out of the quality of Storm Collectibles. Like they're
easily.
Yeah. So they're like when you look at Storm Collectibles when you're buying like whether Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter at $55 to $60. These things are at that level, and they're retail at.
I'd argue better, probably, just because
I know
have parts that are falling off, and
exactly. I know.
They are solid chunks, but you can pull
don't Don't the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter figures have more articulation though than the Mythic Legions?
Yeah, I mean they're more. I'd say they're closer to like a Figwarts as far as the articulation.
Yeah. But you're also getting like, with Mythic Legions, you're getting more accessories than what you would typically get with a Storm collectible. Granted, your Storm collectibles, you're getting like all the nice effects and stuff like that. But these accessories are interchangeable. They're built that way for customization, so you get an extra X factor in Mythic Legions than anything else.
They all have shared parts, but I think the parts count is far higher on the one versus the other.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that could be a detriment to that line though? Not to go too deep into it, but because they're like build the figures in a way, like so.
Kind of in a way, they are.
But I think that's what the line is all about. Like it's about customizing, switching figures, customizing them to your liking, using them not just for other Mythic Legions, but for other things. Like I've seen people use Black Series or Marvel Legends, and they're just swapping them all out. So it encourages that. I think it supports and helps them doing that they're interchangeable and they're using the same parts, because it's encouraging that customization.
It supports the imagination, I think, a lot. It brings back to, as a kid, when you play with G1 Transformers, they were blocks of crap. Basically, they were. But you used your imagination to say, no, this is what I see on the cartoon, and I'm going to fly around with this Optimus Prime, and he's going to be Optimus Prime, but he looks like a brick. So it opens up your imagination, I think, with Mythic Legends.
And Matt, you've got a good point, because like if you compare it to Transformers, everyone's wasting time debating if it's IDW or if it's cartoon centric or if it's more toy oriented or if it's a combination of both or if it's Ocular Max, right? Everyone's trying to look for a label, right? Exactly. Where this is one example of a line where it's just for fun, and it doesn't create quite as much discussion. Maybe that's not as engaging or entertaining, I guess, to go with the toy.
Yeah, like I said before, there's not much to pollute it, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. That's a good point. Yep.
But the way I look
give it
at
time.
The way I look at it too is, I mean, I go in some of these groups that are dedicated to Mythic Legions, and you see the shelf canon that some of these people are doing. It's incredible. They're not just swapping parts, but they're painting stuff up and things like that,
and parts and
making their own.
I mean, I kind of real quick. I kind of look at it at the the 40K stuff that Adam paints and things. Like, you can change the paint scheme for these models that you build. Excuse me, that you buy and stuff like that. And it's a different style of collecting. It's not just getting something that's a representation of something you remember. It's something a little bit different.
I know nothing of the 40K thing. That's a game, right? Like you play an actual
it's like
game.
A tabletop
but
game.
People are really into the figures too, right? Like the way they look and
the models
and do all that stuff, right?
There's a lot of guys out there that just buy the models just to paint them.
Right.
So they might buy, like, they get a good deal on like an army of them. They sit, have a blast, paint them, and then they sell them, and then they put the money right back into another army. They do the same thing, they're taking pictures of them and all that kind of stuff. Just things say, hey, I did this stuff. But so not everybody that buys them is,
playing the game.
Playing the game. Right.
Yeah. So Deluxe, is it your opinion that, like you said, you mentioned like Legends being like a phase, and I'm with you on that. Like, I remember I had a fever. I picked up Marvel Legends for like 6 months, took a bunch of photos, then realized like it just wasn't for me, and sold most of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you think that like with stuff like that, like you brought up Pacific Rim and we brought it up early in the show, like sometimes like we picked up everything that the line put out, and now there's nothing else. So that's the reason kind of like why we're not talking about it anymore, because there's nothing else that's there to support it. Like, so can that be considered a phase, like if we still have it and we didn't sell it, right?
I did want to reiterate on that. I'm sorry, just to, they did just release another kaiju, maybe,
and they get different lines too.
Like a half ago,
I think they have different lines.
Well, what the hell were they? The robot, good robot. What the fuck are those
spirits?
Robot spirit. Yeah. Thank you. That line, they just did another kaiju, and they have one more kaiju to do.
Well, to answer your question, Jose, I'm sorry. If I think most people want to, if they, a lot of people that they want to finish a line. Like a lot of people are seeing Transformers almost done. Not me. I'm never going to see it done. But, Dust has said it, Pinkerton is, if he does it, if anybody does it in RC, they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're done. So do you think they're going to sell their stuff? I don't think so. I mean, I think they'll just be completed and it'll be done. They'll move on to another, line or something.
Well, like Deluxe, it's funny that you say that because, I have only a few left to complete my masterpiece collection.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of think about it, obviously part of this hobby is the accumulation aspect, right? So, it's almost like we have to transform what we would want to do with that collection and move on to like, maybe I see them all as a team and that's fun. I finally did it, but now maybe take a few off the shelf and maybe start getting into creating displays that you rotate.
So you're going to be completely done with Transformers then?
Yeah,
we should get that.
Maybe. Yeah. But then it's like, but other people are going through this. That's why the Legends game is so hot right now. It's like, MP's done. Now I get to collect them all again. Kind of stuff.
And because they're many little masterpiece figures. If you get the Iron Factory and the Magic Square stuff, which Iron Factory is more stylized, and then you got Magic Square is more G1. It's a beautiful time. Beautiful time to be alive and a collector, man. I'm telling you, get on the Legends game. You ain't in it yet. It's a good time. Good time.
Yeah, but Deluxe, let's go back. I mean, I don't think I'll sell them. I think I just want to start finding a new way to enjoy the Transformers in my hobby, basically.
Gotcha. And I think that's what everybody, like I said, people seeing at the end of the tunnel, they're not going to sell their stuff. They're just done. They're like, They sit back and they, big old sigh and says,
part of me is a little happy because it's slowing down to a you were drinking out of like fucking fire hose at one point, and it's like now it's creeping down to a slow slow crawl.
Third party was just left and right, man. It was like
it helps me as a collector, so I can get involved in other things. So it's like I'm happy that it's slowing down. I'll never stop collecting Transformers. And there's so much out there for Transformers. It's just not G1. So it's like, you can, it, Deluxe. Like if you're a Transformer fan, there's a lot more out there than G1. So there's a lot that you can get into. And
I propose a discussion on my channel is, would y'all like to see, like they just start a clean slate with new characters? Like, good versus evil, but no Optimus Prime, no Megatron, no Cybertron. There's a whole new, a new slate of characters and everything.
Yeah,
Deluxe. How good that would do, though.
I mean, Badcube tried it, right? They got that black colored huffer thing.
Yeah, I mentioned that, the black, but
right.
I think it would do fine because it's
You're not talking about a fiction, though, right? Not necessarily a line of toys.
No, a line of toys and fiction.
Really? I mean, they're gonna make a line of fiction to sell toys,
right? That I would think it would need that in order for it to be successful.
Yeah. Well, I think that's with anything. I think that a good cartoon, like I've told, with Paramount and Netflix getting together, who would not love to see like a All Hail Megatron or Last Stand on the Record straight to Netflix?
Yes,
even if they go back further, Deluxe, like do a series of Alpha Trion and do that.
Anything.
You know what I'm saying? Go back all the way back.
Backstories of anybody that we straight to Netflix. Man, Paramount has such a gold mine with Transformers. They could do so much, and it pisses me off.
I also feel like they're a horrible, horrible studio. Like they don't do. I mean, the G.I. Joe movies. I mean, those tanked.
But Dave, to what you were saying, if it would do good, I think it would because we all love the characters. But Transformers as a brand, I think it's just Transformers. Like I think if they brought on a new, but they would have to have a fiction to back it up. I think it would do fine, But still, don't get away from G1 stuff and all that stuff. But a whole new slate of new stuff, I think would be okay.
So let me ask you: do you want them to start fresh for ages 3 and up, or are we talking an adult fiction and adult collector type stuff? Because we all grew up on Transformers. That's why we love it so much because it was a kid show and we grew into it and stuff. And I think they've done fiction and new toys for the younger generations, right?
Right.
But they weren't. They were semi-successful, like Transformers anime and stuff, but
right.
Not in that blew my mind.
That's a good point because we're set in our ways. You know, we like G1 stuff and all that stuff. So I think it would be kind of a hard thing to push for adults.
But you just mentioned something before though. You said IDW, right? Me, I would eat that up like candy if they did the books they dropped.
Hell yeah!
And did an anime for it and made it like ages 13.
Nipples are hard, dude.
I'd watch it every fucking day.
Keep talking.
And come out with toys. I'm buying them too.
Hold on, let me finish.
But I think they have the rest. Like there's been things in the past that had the recipe for and then they have been successful. So I think they have it. It's just they have to apply it. So like even in Beast Wars, like the only reason why, like, and there's a lot of debate about it, but once they tied it back to G1, it got interesting. It got more robust in regards to understanding the story and putting some more stock into the series. So right. I think, and G1 is G1. Like I even see kids. Like I've talked to guys who have kids who are 10 years old, 12 years old, and they're going back to G1. They're eventually whatever Transformer line that they're at or whatever they're introduced to, they eventually find themselves back to G1 and they're looking for those, G1 Starscreams and, G1, Optimus Primes and all that other G1 stuff. So the funny thing is that if they could just build that off that successful recipe, build maybe a prequel where they're introducing new characters and we're all falling in love with them and then tie it back into G1, I think they'll definitely have a big universe that they can build off of.
Yeah, I do agree. And even if they don't even tie it into G1, but just coming up with something new.
No, you got to tie it to G1, Jose. You got to tie it into G1.
Listen, I get it. Because it kind of, the nostalgia factor is always there for guys like us. But creating something new is always good. And as long as it has that tried and true concept, the transforming robot,
good versus evil,
personality, good versus evil like aspect, which is just paramount in any kind of fiction that we watch and enjoy. I think it's a good thing, and I feel like they should do that because we have the G1 stuff, we have the modern stuff. Everybody has their own version of Transformers that they grew up with. You know what I'm saying? So I think going in a new direction with new characters and stuff like that, as long as it's done well, I think it would take off and would resonate with the fans out there.
Yeah. And people, believe me, like that's the success of Pacific Rim in the first movie, where people enjoy watching movies like that where you have large robots beating up whatever monsters in this case, but it could be robots beating up robots. But if it has a good story and you build the characters and give the time to build those characters and not make it more human and make it more make the characters or these inanimate objects human, I think you got a success. Like anything can I think if the story's there, they can build on it and build those characters and then have a successful franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Deluxe, real quick, back to your point where you said if they just kept on making robots, if they keep making cars that transform into robots, and
fuck that,
I'm gonna keep
planes.
Right. I'm gonna keep buying them.
Yeah,
I mean that Batcube one was one thing, but the quality of it's not MP. It's not MPS aesthetic, Yeah. JD, sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh no.
I like your shirt, Brian.
Oh,
come on now. I saw you got to meet them. Sorry, that's a totally. I'm going off on the rails. Sorry, Josh. I apologize. I'm just a guest. How y'all doing?
Takeover. This is takeover.
No, I ain't taking over, man. Y'all are doing good, man. I love watching y'all. I work out and watch y'all, man. All good.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. So cool, man. I mean, I'm glad you're on because you could actually participate in our question.
What?
Tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you've been paying attention the past few weeks. We've been asking the chat squad some questions so they could pick a number and they could potentially win a prize. But we all ask each other on the panel. Sometimes off the wall questions, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's a good time. We get to know each other a little bit more. The chat squad gets to participate, and it's always good times. So let's move into that. It's me, It's my turn. It's Gary's turn. It's JD's turn. We're up this week. So one of us, all of us, are going to throw a question out to the chat. Whoever answers correctly gets to pick a number, and then we'll move on from there. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'll go first this time.
Wow. Gary's like,
Gary's like, I want to get this shit out the way.
Exactly.
It's 9:15.
Gary's got to go to the bathroom, man, real soon. He's got to go first, man. Here we go. Come on.
All right. So, in the spirit of all this Mythic Legions discussion, we'll say the 1980s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, which ran from 83 through 85, featured a dragon named Tiamat as an evil, basically one of the evil bad guys. How many heads were on that dragon?
Ooh. Chat squad, whoever answers correctly first gets to play.
I know we got some.
I don't even know that answer, so G, we'll leave this up to you.
Gary's always thinking about head.
God. There we go. Josh said 5. True Star Screamer says 3. Paul said
5 is correct.
5 is correct. Ooh, Josh
is.
got it. Josh got it.
Fuck Josh, dude. Look at this guy. He's like,
He's hitting all the time, man. He's got a leg up on
he
everybody.
might have one leg, but he got fucking 6 goddamn
Got a
thumbs.
leg up on everybody.
Fast he's Googling.
Little numbers. People are just guessing now. 1. Somebody's at 8. Come on,
Josh, did you watch that show? Did you like know that by memory, or did you have
He
to
probably
look that up?
does. He probably does. He knows.
I love seeing everybody else in the chat squad just throwing numbers out there.
Yeah, still throwing numbers.
All right, so let me highlight Brian and Josh. You won, so I think you've played this game before. Pick your number one last week.
Night of Red said 100 heads. That's one fucking big ass dragon.
Josh is picking 8. He picks 6.
Deluxe is 69.
And he says he owns the series on DVD, and he used to have the Tiamat figure, so that's awesome. Woo! Yep. All right, number 8 is ask a question.
All right, I'm going to keep it a bit lighthearted since we'll let Dave ramp it up again next week. So my question is, what is how old is the oldest pair of shoes in your closet?
Oh my god.
I'll go first. Really? I'll go first, Gary.
Okay.
I still have my high school cleats from 19.
Why?
They still fit, man.
I'm right there with Brian. I still have my high school cleats, dude.
Yeah, but you guys are big football players, so
yeah, and I don't want to throw out my
trophy case in the back of the closet.
Well, it's
Remember me back in the day? I ran 40 yards and
4 touchdowns. And
what were you doing, Dave? You were the janitor in the boiler room.
I sit down and do toy podcast all day.
Dave was smoking a joint with a janitor in the boiling room. That's all you would do. You fucking punk.
And he's not gonna deny it either. He'd be like, yeah,
he was.
He was probably fucking your girlfriend in the back.
Oh,
Look at booty hole, Dave.
Okay, so much
use the step stool.
So much for keeping it lighthearted.
I still have my tap shoes from when I was 3, so I can still fit in them. So that's what I got. Tell me, say something about my tap shoes.
Tap shoes.
Tap Rooney.
Oh shit.
I think for me, I think I got a pair of boots. That's probably
red cowboy boots. What you got?
4 years old, probably at this point. I don't collect shoes or sneakers or anything like that, so I don't have anything kind of like crazy that I've had for a while. But yeah, probably like about 4 years old. Pair of boots. I only use them during the winter time. So
these boots,
they've been lasting.
There you go. Okay.
I have a few pairs of sneakers that are probably about 15 years old. Still, from like the early 2000s. So
like those pairs
worn in,
they were all probably worn, but like the ones that were like beat up are probably gone. These are probably ones that I could probably still put on.
How many of those pairs you ran away? You were running away from the cops when you wearing them. Just want to know. All the pairs.
You guys bring this story up. Is I have one of those pairs.
Oh yes,
it's a pair from the early 2000s. It's the Jordan 12, right? Mm-hmm. So that sneaker, the entire sole, when I put them on, like maybe a year or two ago, I tried to put them on. The sole of both of them completely came off. The glue had already eroded.
Oh, wow.
So, like, they're basically trash unless I glue them back together. So
It's not good when you're trying to run.
You know, I don't think all sneakers hold up for too long.
On those things, man.
Yeah.
Gary, on a serious note, I do have sneakers that are about 3 years old. I use them when I cut the lawn and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Cut the lawn sneakers.
Like cut the lawn or actually cut the lawn.
For business time.
I got a cousin that'll do your lawn, Brian.
Yeah.
That's racist.
Do I pay him in sneakers?
No.
Pesos.
I got a cousin that will cut your lawn for $5. Jesus. Come on.
Surprised you didn't say all of your cousins.
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, I have all my cousins. Shoot. That's my wild card. Hold on.
Oldest pair of shoes in my closet. I don't know. It'll be a couple years. Shoes don't really last me that long. So,
Why?
but the last
Walk miles in them.
You're cheesy.
I go through them like they might last like 6 months usually. But the last time I bought shoes,
Who are you running away from?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, you're accusing, the Puerto Ricans here. You get, the white guy over here, someone that does all the running.
Who's white on here? Ain't nobody white on here.
Whatever, you Forrest Gump.
Sorry about that, my wife calling. Are y'all still being racist? Come on now, let's go. Stereotyping asses. Hey, what's that song? I don't want to be a player no more. Dave, what's that mean?
I don't want to be a player no more.
What?
What, you don't know what that means?
No, he knows what I'm talking about.
You don't want to play baseball?
I know what I don't want. I'll take that picture off and slam you with it. Come on, man. No, sorry.
All right, was that everybody?
Did Gary chime in?
Yeah, chime in, Gary. You didn't answer your own question.
Yeah, so I'm not a sneaker collector at all, and I don't buy Jordans, but I am very partial to Nikes for sure, and I buy them, I wear them. But I do have a 10-year-old pair of retro flights that I had to track down that I've never worn. Actually, it's one pair of shoes I've never worn, just because I really like that look. And they have they're Carolina blue and white, so they're really hard to find.
So you never wore them, but you make fun of Dom for not playing with his toys.
Correct.
Exactly. And guess what? They're probably they're fucking probably on the T-Rex.
Are they on the T-Rex?
They're not on the T-Rex. That's okay, Dom. So these shoes are about a future plan versus holding on to the past. Right?
It's when you run away from your wife that you're gonna put them on.
Hey, if y'all want to get rid of Dom and want to replace it with me,
we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk
exactly.
later. We'll talk later, Deluxe. You'll get a phone call.
Deluxe, you should check out your DMs.
All right, man, I'm waiting for y'all to slide in those things, man. Come on now.
Oh man! All right, awesome. All right, so it's down to me and JD. JD, can I get next?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Can I get it over with?
Are you gonna fall asleep too?
No. I just I want to get my question out and then make another drink.
I've made it to 10 o'clock for 3 weeks in a row, by the way. And it's
only 9:20. We got it for 40 minutes, guys.
It's a holiday week, all right? So, there's a hangout tomorrow, so I got to plan accordingly.
man.
Okay.
Y'all act like y'all got something to do later. Come on, man. Y'all ain't got nothing to do.
All right. So my question for the chat squad. Pay attention, chat squad. Who won the finals of the WWF Championship Tournament at WrestleMania 4? Come on, that's an easy one.
Josh, you can't
Josh is
answer,
already-
Josh. Shut up.
He's like, yeah, he's Googling. You can't win, Josh.
Josh,
That's it. That's it for the night.
I know you'll get that one, but you
Is that
can't.
who
win
the
again.
team was?
Yep. Who won the WWF Championship Tournament at WrestleMania 4? That's easy. Come on, guys. You should pull that by memory. Oh, Josh said Ted DiBiase. He was in the finals, but he didn't win.
Yeah, you didn't win, Josh. You already won.
You stop
Ted
answering
DiBiase.
questions.
Cream of the crop.
Wasn't Virgil his bodyguard, Jose?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Look at me knowing stuff.
There you go. You got some stuff. There you go. Menasor 36, which is damn plastic crack. He answered correctly. Macho Man.
Cream of the
Randy
crop.
Savage. Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Macho Man.
Man, I wish he was still alive, dude. Side note, man.
Cocaine's a
Him
hell of a
and-
drug.
When him and Hogan, oh god, when him and Hogan did promos, man, that was so much steroids and cocaine. It was ridiculous. But dude, I could watch Macho Man's promos for hours, dude. When he does, when he spins and says "cream of the crop" and just throws up like creamers, and
Cream of the
come
crop.
on now, you don't get better than that, man. But when he and Hogan get together, magic,
Oh yeah.
magic. So,
That line was
what were they called? The
good.
Ultimate Powers or something?
Mega Powers. Him
Mega
and Hogan were the Mega Powers.
Thank God for Macho Man. Come on.
What did he
now.
pick? He picked 13.
Word up. So yeah, so DPC he picks number 13. Let's see what that is.
Jose, get ready to ship to Hawaii.
Yeah, ship it to Hawaii. Oh.
Ask a question. Yo, I got no problem shipping anything to Japan. Yo.
Ship a
I'll ship a
pineapple.
fucking cupcake to Japan any day.
Coconut.
All right. So my question for you guys, hopefully it's not too crazy. Do you ever remember catching a beat down from your parents when you were a kid?
Oh,
and if you did, do you remember what you got hit for?
Dude, it's like every Tuesday for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Still,
that-
no, still
I got my ass
gets
beat
his
a
mom.
lot.
Don gets his ass whooped by his mom every day.
Yeah, dude. She graduated from the wooden spoon to the fucking metal spoon because I broke the wooden one.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a real ass whooping. Like they use like a belt, a hanger, a chancleta, like, you know, something. Anything.
Oh, what?
Can I
What?
What the hell is that?
A
Chancleta?
slipper,
What is
slipper,
that?
a
Oh, I don't
slipper.
speak Spanish, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Buy a book, Deluxe. Go.
I'm a white guy down in Arkansas. Come on now. A beat down with. Now, my father, he to get on a sad note, sorry, but he passed away when I was younger. I remember the one time. I remember he gave me an ass whooping, and I went outside and I was by a swing set, and for some reason, you know, I was Billy Badass. I remember sticking my tongue out there, but he was watching out through the window. I didn't see him. He came out there and gave me another ass whooping. I didn't know what, because he came out. I was like, "What the heck?" And yeah, he was looking through the window and saw me. I was like, "Man." So, but there's the other one. The real good one is when I always threw a fit when I was at church for some reason, and we always go out and eat Western Sizzling.
You got
After
the devil
church.
in you.
I know. And I remember we went and I was being a badass that time, and my grandpa took me into the girls' to the bathroom, and not the girls' bathroom, but the bathroom. And yeah, well, you know, no. The reason why I was in there because my mom took me. I'm sorry, fucking up the story already. My mom took me into the woman's bath. That's why I said woman's. And my grandpa came in there, and they just replastered, like they redid the wall. And I jerked away from my mom, and I remember I went through the wall, and it came all crashing down. And my grandfather, he was a carpenter, so he had to go fix that for free. And my grandpa and my mom whooped my ass that day.
Oh, damn.
So that was probably one
Got
of my
a
worst.
double ass whooping.
What you have to do? Bet you switch.
No, they didn't get switched. He took his belt off. He took his belt off on me. So, but oh well.
Sorry, man. Sorry to dredge up those pain.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I think I got fucking busted for. I think I got beat with a belt back in the day, and I'm sure I remember catching 2 beatdowns in my life, but this one, I could remember what it was for, and I was just I lived on the 3rd floor, you know what I'm saying, apartment building, and I was spitting out the window, and I wasn't spitting at anybody, wasn't trying to like hot Louise at anybody, but just
you want to see how long it stayed for before it broke.
I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and just spitting out the window, like, again, not spitting at anybody, but just the fact that I was doing that, I think my dad caught me. And he whooped my ass pretty good with a belt. My dad was that type of dad. He was old school. He didn't play. You know what I'm saying? He was that type of dad that all he had to do was kind of give us a look and fucking get in line, you know?
But that was old school. Back, I mean, the ages we are, I think that all our dads were probably old school, and they didn't get that shit.
Word. So
I never got beat.
Yeah, right. Fuck you. You got beat.
I never got beat.
Really? Your dad? The trouble you got into?
I got hit by my dad twice that I can remember,
Really?
and I was grown enough to be like, all right, that's all you got, dude. And then,
he bucked up to his dad, man.
And then the one time my mother smacked me in the face, that was probably more embarrassing because all my friends were there and they were all laughing at me after.
Oh, yeah.
My mom, for 15 years of my life, never put her hands on me. At 15 years old, she decided to smack the shit out of me in front of my friends. And I was just like, oh, shit. But no, I never really got beat. So it explains a lot, I guess. Yeah.
Dude, I'll go. You want to go, JD? You go.
I can. I mean, mine's real quick. But, I get my ass beat with a belt when I deserved it. I can't really remember like specific times, like what I did, but it was always something because my brother and I would always get our ass beat together. Mm-hmm. So it was always probably us fighting each other, and then we'd get our ass beat again.
See, if your parents were smart, they would just let you guys fight until one of you got knocked out.
Right.
They don't have to do shit. Just sit back and watch.
I'm just
eat the popcorn.
This question's going to bring back some memories for some people, and it's kind of gotten a little low key now. Everybody's like,
oh man, my mom, I'm gonna call my mom now. I'm sorry.
You're gonna start people crying and shit. Like, why you ask this question? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like JD. Yeah, like I always got in trouble with my brother, whether we broke stuff or fighting and stuff like that. But one particular time, I might have told you guys this story offline or in a unbroadcasted hangout. But there was one time me and my brother we slept in the same rooms. We had separate beds, and basically a light was in, like a lamp was right between us, and the light fixture or the switch was right by the door, where my brother was. So he was afraid of the dark most of his youth, and there's been times where at night when my dad came home from work, he would shut off the lights, and within 15 minutes to 20 minutes, my brother will flip back on the light and obviously fall asleep. But this one particular night, my father was constantly waking up, and he closed the light, and my 15 minutes went by, my brother flipped back on the light. Half hour, my dad out the door and goes, time to go to bed, shut up these lights. And he shuts off the lights, and about 40 minutes will go by, and my brother turns on the light, and I'm like, Jared, what are you doing? I'm like, he's gonna come back out, and he's gonna see. He's like, no, I swear he's not gonna come back, he's not gonna come out. I was like, okay, fine. So third time, my dad comes out and sees that the light's on, and he goes, what did I say? Lights off. I see these lights on. Somebody's going to fucking answer for it. And I'm like, so I thought he was going to keep the lights off. My dad was pissed. And then all of a sudden, an hour goes by, and I'm almost like, I'm pretty much half asleep, and I see him flip up the lights. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, he's asleep. He won't wake up. 10 minutes later, my dad walks through the room. He has the belt already in the hand, and he goes, who fucking turned on the light? And my brother gets up on the bed and goes, Nikki did. And my dad dragged me out of my bed and beat the shit out of me. Wow, and I literally came back in the room, and I'm like, you motherfucker. And like, he turned the light off, and that was like the last night he ever turned back the light on. Like, yeah, I told him he felt bad, and he just, because he didn't want to tell my dad that he was afraid of the light, afraid of the dark. So it was kind of like his secret that I knew, and I don't know why he didn't want to tell my dad, and so it was kind of like a mutual kind of brother thing. What? Yeah, he was older. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's why
he was older.
Man, that's some fucked up childhoods, man.
So Tom,
Jesus Christ, man. We need some therapy or some shit, man. Maybe that's why we collect, because we just.
This is it.
This
is it.
exactly.
Thank y'all for having me on, for making me think about my life and shit. Oh my gosh.
Deluxe is gonna call his parents.
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
I'm so sorry, Mom.
No, my mom's in the back room. She lives with me.
Go give her a kiss.
Yeah.
Go back there.
Yeah, give her a hug.
I'm sorry for the choices. I've been hanging out with the wrong people.
Hanging out and breaking the mold. Look what y'all got me doing.
Anybody else?
No. So for me, I was kind of like Dave. That wasn't the choice of punishment my parents used. My father was big about manual labor, meaning like he would just start giving me like the chore list to do, and it would be yard work or just heavy labor intensive stuff as punishment. But similar to your story, Matt, there's one time I do remember I was getting yelled at for something in the kitchen, and I turned my back to my mother. She was the one yelling at me, and I made a face. And I wasn't really thinking. It was in the refrigerator. She could kind of tell that I was making faces at her. And she just backhanded me in the side of my ear. And I just remember my head ringing. And she was just like, "Oh, you think you're pretty slick, don't you? I can see the face you're making." And it was just all at once. And I was like, "Oh, kind of blew that one pretty good." So that's just one time that really sticks out.
Parents always say, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten a major ass whooping. Like, my mom would smack me from time to time. I remember this one time in the Plainfield, New Jersey house, though. She wound back, and I ducked, and she hit the wall instead. And I
made your dad miss.
Man, I remember that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
My dad, though, when I was living with him, he didn't hand out whoopings, but what he would do is he would grab me by my shirt and pin me up against the wall with one hand. And my dad's not a big guy, but I guess just displaying a feat of strength to try to scare me or whatever.
Yeah, my dad's not big either. He's 5'3". He used to do the same shit.
Dude, your dad is Jack, Dave.
Yeah, I know, but he's fucking 5'3".
Dude, I got hit. I got hit a lot of times. My dad started saying, "This hurts me more than it hurts you." I'm like, yeah, it sure does.
Brian, when you were
remember my mom squeezing my arm one time, trying to fucking hurt me, and I was laughing at her.
Hey, Brian, when you were telling the story, I was picturing a baby analyzer. You being "No, Dad, you didn't say that. You said this." Shut the fuck up.
I think my dad didn't get upset about much, but I think if he caught me in a lie, he always hated being told lies, and that was it. So.
Yo, Lord Shadowkeeper in the chat. Yo, he says something mad real. This is true. He said the worst punishments came from his grandmother, and he said she made him kneel
on a bag of rice.
Cooked rice for hours.
Yeah,
and if I moved, the chancla would put me in my place, which is again the slipper. Yo, that's real. That's a fucking punishment.
I didn't even read the chat. I knew you were gonna finish with that because my dad tried doing that shit to me once too, with the fucking kneeling on the rice shit.
Yeah,
so my mom let him have it.
Yeah, well, my dad would do stupid other shit. One time he hated us not locking the front door. So one time, there was one day I didn't lock the front door. He literally he made me stand in front of the front door, locking the front door for about 3 hours, and just lock the front door, unlock the front door, lock the front door, unlock the front door. For fucking 3 hours, dude.
Therapy.
That was my Sunday afternoon.
Your dad had issues, man.
Oh, dude, my dad was he would do some funny. It's mostly we deserved it. We broke shit, and there was one time my brother broke his remote control, like a button popped off of it, and he fucking broke it. And my brother always at that point we're trying to figure out how to fix anything that we broke. So like he would put the button back in, and he came up with a clever idea. It's like, leave it there, so when he picks it up, he thinks he broke it. And I'm looking at my brother. I'm like, that possibly might work. I'm like, yeah, okay. So like my dad got home and he fucking picked up the controller. We're downstairs waiting to hear the call, and all of a sudden he's like, Jerry Dickey, get the fuck up here. And his classic line was like, what the fuck you think I made out of money? Because we broke a lot of shit. Like, we got in fights and we would just break shit.
Did you break a lot of chairs?
Chairs, doors.
I thought you would break a lot of chairs.
Yeah, chairs, doors.
You broke a lot of hearts too. I know you did.
Hearts.
Chairs and hearts.
Feelings.
All right, was that everybody on that?
Yep.
All right, so JD,
you're up. I need some therapy when we get done.
No, I love my dad. Dude. I love my dad, but
that right.
There was a time where then when I think it was like freshman year of high school, like he there was one I remember the time it was like he was yelling at me, and there was a point where he knew, like he hit me with his hand, and I'm like, and I just didn't budge, and he's like, I guess I can't hit you anymore. And then he's like, and then he just knew, because I was like almost twice the size of him, so it's just after a while, like the discipline was more making me feel bad about what I did, rather than just hit me over it. He's old school, like he immigrant from Argentina, so it's like he was brought up with that mentality. You did wrong, you got hit. So
yeah.
Hold on. Did you just confess that you're from Argentina?
My father was born in Argentina.
All right,
Italy descent.
Don't fucking with those
I'm not
jokes again.
Don't fucking tell me I'm South American.
We're in the same boat.
I'm not in the same boat. I was not on the boat where you were on.
Hey, I'm from Argentina too.
Yeah.
I'm from Argentina.
Yeah. My dad was born in Argentina. My grandparents came from Italy.
See what comes out in these questions, Jose? We really
I fucking love it.
Fucking Spanish.
That's the point. That's the point of all this.
Southern American.
No, that's deluxe.
Yeah, I'm from South America. What? You don't think so?
All right. Well, definitely from the South.
Yeah, I'm from the South.
All right, JD, you're up, brother.
All right. Question for the chat. It's a Star Wars question.
Uh-oh.
What is the standard issue Imperial Blaster? Like the model.
Ooh.
It's easy.
He's making a hard one. He's making it a hard one.
Oh, let me Google this real quick. Hold on. I'll be back.
Imperial Blaster, the standard Imperial Blaster. Is this something that has like a number, like the IM 767?
It's the Pew Pew 7000.
Potato gun 960.
All right. Let's see here. True Starscreamer. He got it first.
Did he get it?
Yep, E11.
The E11 Blaster.
Nah, Wiggin said D's Blast. I don't know. D's nuts or something.
Blastech is the.
Oh no, Sportimus guy. It's True Star Wars, so I give it to Sportimus.
Black.
But the EE10. All right, so True Starscreamer, you answer correctly. You get to pick a number. Brian, throw it up.
It's up. It's not.
Oh, I don't see it.
It's that voodoo.
I'm just awkwardly looking at you. Oh, pick a number that's not 8 or 13, unless you want to pick those numbers.
Just ask a question.
See, even he said, "Brian, get it up, man."
Ooh, 23.
23.
Ooh, ask a question.
Ask a question.
Oh.
And here's where the correct answers were, or where the prize answers were. They're all correct answers, I guess. I had them all at the top this time.
With a prize. You got to start coming up with some other goofy shit to throw in there besides those things too. I want to see fucking Dom patting his head and rubbing his stomach for like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, I can't do that shit. I don't multitask. Shit.
You don't task.
Oh, fuck you, sleepyhead. Go to bed.
Whoa!
What was that? A fart out of your ass?
That was a queef.
Tight ass?
That was a queef.
Yeah, it's a
queef. My pussy farted.
Look that one up.
We have a question or no?
Deluxe knows what it is.
Who pussy farted?
Who pussy?
What's the question?
JD
got a question?
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna keep in the spirit of Deluxe and ask a pooping question, but
Yay.
I couldn't come up with it.
What angle is the best selfie on the toilet?
Yeah, ask it quick before Gary.
Yeah,
Gary's gonna fall asleep at bedtime.
But since we were on like I mean, we all have siblings, right? Right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, what was the worst thing that you did growing up? Your sibling.
Oh my
god.
Oh.
I'll go real quick. So my older brother and sister, I didn't really know, but my younger brother and sister are 10 years younger than me, 10 and 12 years younger than me. And when I would go stay at my mom's house, they would have me sleep on the sleeper sofa in the living room. And like the back of the sofa, like you could lift it up so you could have like a headrest kind of thing. And they would sometimes like climb under there, and I would close it and sit on it and trap them in, like inside the couch. And they would just scream bloody murder out. Yeah. That would probably be the worst thing I did. That, and we would have pillow fights, and I would fucking sock them really good. They would fly across the room and stuff.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I brought mine up actually like either a week ago or 2 weeks ago during this very segment. Actually, I slapped the shit out of my sister, my oldest sister, one time, and I'm not proud of that. I remember we were just arguing. I don't remember what it was about, but she got me angry. I think I was probably like 8 or 9. And I just remember coming from like back here, like right in front of we were at my aunt's house, like right in front of her front door, in the hallway. And I just remember coming from back here, and it just went whack right on her fucking face, and it was like full palm straight up
violent
face, and just a look on her face. I was just like, I'll never forget that, you know. And it's like, damn, like I felt like shit afterwards. But I'm sure in that moment I probably felt justified. But I can't remember what it was about, what we were talking about, what we were arguing about. But I just remember that exact moment. So that's all I could think of, because just a lot of love, man, between me and my siblings. You know, like, you know, we fought over bullshit, but it was never like anything like super serious. You know what I'm saying? So that was like something that I could just remember like outright, that it was just like, oof, what the fuck was I thinking? You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll let Gary go. He can go.
Well, no, I was a bit more creative. So I have one younger sister, and I kind of tricked her into, you know, playing restaurant basically, which was just my way to get her to wait on me and bring me stuff from the kitchen, like bring me something to drink or make me a sandwich. Hey, let's play restaurant, you know what I mean? And pretend like she was taking the order and stuff. Like,
oh my god, Gary!
Gary, you just rejuvenated something in me.
Oh my god!
Gary, do you play restaurant with your wife a lot?
Yeah, that's
Hey, baby, let's play restaurant. Take my order.
Yeah, the restaurant we play is where are you taking me?
No, it's like it says eat your ass on the menu.
Can you make sure the whipped cream is on the side, please? The last time I was here, you put it right in the milkshake.
Disgusting.
I don't have anything. I can't think of anything about me and my brother. We was all right. We was okay, I guess. I don't have anything. So.
We dredged up some painful moments here.
When Lisa gets online to have therapy, she's a therapist. Golly. Anyways, what's next? Oh, I think y'all wanted me to ask a question.
Well, we're not done answering this one. So
I want her to answer this one. Gary's got to go to bed.
All right, I'll answer.
Go, Dave.
All right, I'll be quick. I'll be quick before Deluxe goes to sleep on us too.
I ain't going to play. No, Gary's going to sleep. He's old, man.
Did Gary even finish answering? Like, I felt like he just abruptly just dropped.
Hey, Gary's
no, that was it. I told my story.
15 minutes, man.
Okay.
Gary, I'm kind of stealing yours because you sparked something in me. My brothers, me and my brother, 8 years apart, right? So when I was, 14, he was 6, right? So what I used to have him do is we used to play a game called Let's Look for Money, right? We used to have him go under the couches, under the, any crevice in the house because he was always a little skinny thing. And he used to come back with quarters, dimes, nickels. And then I used to take him to the comic book store. I used to always have to try to get him something, right? But it was always something like shitty. Like, oh, that's 50 cents. That's for him. Meanwhile, I'm spending, I'm buying a few books or whatever I was buying at the time. So that was pretty shitty. I had him doing all the legwork.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
It's funny, though. My first marriage, his best man speech, at the end of it, he ended with that.
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh, let's look for money." Like it resonated with him. It stayed with him for years.
Oh wow! Yeah, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I have a little sister. I beat the hell out of her all the time. So she did not like. She did not like watching any type of karate or fighting movie because I would always make her hold a pillow up and basically,
stuff?
Yeah, dude, that was like my big
Karate
thing.
Kid.
Yeah, Karate Kid.
Any
Chuck
movie?
Norris, Shaw,
Rocky,
all the karate. Yep, anything. She would not like to. When I came in the room, I took over the TV and put on if Karate Kid came on, she'd be like running out the fucking room because she knows that 5 seconds later I'm having her hold up a pillow or something. My go-to move if she ever pissed me off was to basically make her hit herself.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna sit on her.
No, I just grabbed her, took her 2 arms, and just let her I never hit my sister. I just let her hit herself. So I would like I let her slap herself in the face.
That's the same.
Nah, not at all.
I think it's the same. You beat your sister.
Yeah. She beat herself. But yeah, I love my sister. We grew up pretty much. My brother went to the military, so we grew up in the house together most of the years, and we would just tool on each other all the time. She would get some good shots, and at the end of the day, I would always prevail because I was the bigger brother, and always I felt sorry one time.
Because you're a giant.
Yeah, well, pretty much. I would always I'm doing this.
Gary coming back with this, man.
I was like, I'm only doing this to protect you. You're going to be much stronger in the future.
Y'all need to start taking notice on Gary, man. He's coming back with some good shit, man. I'm proud of him.
It's almost bedtime. He's getting them in.
Yeah,
get him out.
Get him out.
Oh god,
that's mine.
All right. Mine. I guess I'm last, right?
You will.
No, you're never last.
I'm last. It's okay. Yeah, me and my brother used to beat the piss out of each other. If there was a door, fingers were being slammed in it. Like our fingers, both of our fingers are locked.
Wow.
What the fuck?
How the fuck do you draw so well, motherfucker?
I don't know. That's the secret.
That's how you do it.
He holds it like this, like.
Loose fingers.
He gets a better hat though. He don't move his hand around to.
Like my
CC, he gets CC to move his hand around.
My recollection of being a child, I mean, I'm talking, 5 and under. Him and I are 2 years apart. I'm 2 years older than him. We always beat the fucking shit out of each other. Like whatever we could get our hands on. He pushed me off the top of a truck. Like somehow my dad let us fucking hang out on top of a truck that he had, and my brother pushed me off, and I landed face first in the driveway. But like the one time that I was like trying to protect him, I don't remember what it was, but I had my T-ball bat, and it was like a snake or something like that. I was going across the driveway, and I thought I was being all noble and shit. He runs up behind me to push me as I swung the bat backwards and heard the ping. And then I turned around. I turned around. He's standing there going, like trying not to cry, but holding his head. And I cracked his fucking head open.
Oh.
So like, he ran in the house. He's all like, because he pulled his hands away and saw the blood and shit. And my mom flipped out and drove us to my dad's work, which was like 2 minutes up the road, and then he took us to the hospital, and everybody's freaking out. Oh, he died. Of course, I got my ass beat for that one.
Nobody believed it. It was happening, right?
What happened to the snake?
Man, we got some dark
I think he got away. He's out there somewhere choking somebody out.
Hey, JD, 40 years later, you're still lying about that snake? You started to believe it yourself, right?
Yep.
Right.
There was a snake. There was
a snake. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. But
oh god,
something was there. But I thought I was.
His head.
He was still being a dickhead. He ran up behind me to push me.
Oh.
So again, I would have landed face first in a snake or a duck, whatever the fuck I was trying to beat.
No, it's a duck.
Dude, I don't know.
Dude, sometimes you just gotta beat a duck.
Yeah.
He's gonna beat it hard and good.
Where we lived, there were a lot of like ducks and geese and stuff like that.
Oh, geese.
Fucking geese.
Can't stand geese.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh in the chat, he said he locked his brother in the dryer once and turned it on.
No, he didn't.
Holy shit.
Holy fuck.
Oh my god.
I wanted to do that. I never could work up the courage to do.
Brammer, shout out to Nick. He said he stabbed his stepfather in the thigh and used his toothbrush to clean the toilet.
That's just vicious.
taking pranks to the next level there. So, all right, cool. Was that everybody?
What's more mean? Stabbing him in the thigh or brushing his toothpaste into the toilet?
Oh my god!
I think the toothbrush is more mean because you don't know it's being done, and every day you're brushing your teeth with some shit.
Exactly, that's nasty.
I did that shit.
Nasty.
I did that shit to my ex-wife.
Oh.
But I brushed her around in the litter box. I also took her. I did the same thing to her razor.
Oh,
you know what, guys? I'm so happy that we're all gonna go to hell. So we're gonna all do this podcast from fucking Satan's lair.
Well, y'all some nice dudes and everything, but man, all of y'all are assholes.
See, Deluxe, you're one of us. Come on.
No, I'll play it. I didn't know.
All right. Anybody else? Got to chime in?
Jeebus.
Nope.
Sportimus said he peed in a shampoo bottle that his cousin used.
Oh,
that's messed up.
That's messed up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So,
that was all right for everything y'all said, but once y'all said something about pee, it's like, limit. You're not having none of that.
Listen, they asked for it. Just ask Dave. You know, me and Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to 2 episodes back.
All right, so Deluxe, you're the guest tonight. You know, we usually ask 3 members of the panel each week, ask each other questions. So you have a question for the panel tonight?
Yeah. Okay. If you could fart any scent, what would it be?
Oh my god, that's.
Oh, I'm just gonna say potpourri out of fucking potpourri.
What scent would it be? It'd be all the time. That's what you would.
I'm gonna go with new car scent.
Oh, you would.
Of course you would.
Of course.
Fucking bastard.
How old is this car, Gary? It's 15 years old. It still smells like new.
Hold on 1 minute. Hold on.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm gonna say skunk.
It already fucking smells like that.
Brian wouldn't approve. He would get this worse.
Listen,
He's trying to tag somebody with that shit.
If Brian's choice is skunk, God only knows what it's like in real life for him, right?
Well, he was sleeping on the way down. We got our burritos.
Oh, nice. He ripped a good one, didn't he?
No, I was no. I did not rip in the car, but god damn it, I could not wait for that first stop, man. I was holding my ass cheeks together.
This
Man, you let it go, man.
You fell asleep.
Did it happen as I was sleeping?
Oh, yes, it did.
I just like thanks for telling me now. Thanks for telling me now.
That's the only thing you remember from TikTok is that whole fart smell from the beginning.
I just looked in the room and I'm like,
oh man. Thanks for telling me now, JD.
He's embarrassed.
This is where it all comes out.
Well, we go on a long car trip to someone and say, hey, what are we going to eat? Hey, we're all going to get burritos.
So, hey, you almost made it to 50. You almost made it to 50 episodes. Now everybody's quitting. Almost.
It's Deluxe that brought us down.
I'm the one that broke out BTM.
Deluxe's question broke the mold.
No repairing.
Everybody,
No repairing.
Dude, my cheeks are hurting from smiling so much. Jesus.
Oh my god!
I think my farts. If I wanted my fart smell, it would be like chitlins.
Chitlins.
That is probably one of the worst smells ever. Any type of food cooking is chitlins. So.
I'm sure if you eat enough of them, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
I want mine to smell like fried chicken.
Dude, hey, KFC has a new waffle.
Yeah, like KFC chicken, just like
KFC has,
wow. What the hell?
Oh, Dom, you just I fucking lost it. But you, but that I should have said I'd want my farts to smell like opening a brand new Fans toys.
There you go.
Oh, cancer smell. Nice. Who doesn't love some cancer smell?
Yo, shout out to Jason Lowry. He said fucking Josh farts and it's like Kmart cleanup on aisle 3. Oh my gosh. Shout out to MPSP Theater episode 13, man.
That was messed up.
Yeah, 30, yeah.
That's what do you want yours? You can answer. What do you want?
All right. I'm not gonna go with the grotesque. I'm gonna go with like fresh baked cookies or like some kind of cinnamon buns or something. You know?
Oh, herbal.
Brownies. Pop brownies.
You guys ever fart under the sheets and pull them over your wife's head or your girlfriend's head?
Yeah, Dutch oven. Yeah, the Dutch oven.
I would do that. It would actually smell good.
Dude, I'll throw it. I'll do a throw. Like I'll do a throw. Like you just catch it in your hand and you just curveball it over.
Dave, though.
That's how you catch pink eye, motherfucker.
Dave, wouldn't it suck when every time you come home for dinner, she's like, "Hey, there's more beans for dinner, Dave. You know, we gotta get you tooting."
Oh, dude.
We have company tomorrow.
Bremer said,
The house does smell nice.
Bremer said Josh farts and people think there's a mudslide.
That could be dangerous, Dave, though, with the cookies, because you could like fart and somebody cooking cookies.
No, hey, what you do is when you fart in an elevator, you say, "Do you smell popcorn?"
Oh man, well, Deluxe man, was that everybody? Thank you for taking us.
I don't think I went.
What'd you go?
I was gonna say barbecue sauce, but mine already smelled like barbecue sauce. Again, this goes back to like eating enough of whatever.
Yeah, it's like you are what you eat.
Yeah. But I like Dave's.
I taste ketchup.
Theory. I like Dave's theory though, like cinnamon buns.
Yeah, cinnamon buns.
Baby, I love the smell of your fart.
Just like lay one right on here, right here.
You'll be asking for them like fart, baby, fart.
I know you get relaxed. But like,
let me rub
down there. Can you make sure that
can I push on your belly a little bit?
Yeah.
If you stick your nose between the cheeks, you get a better split.
Oh, shit.
Let me rub your belly.
I want to taste it.
Gross, all right, good night, folks.
Yo, you motherfucking savages, yo. That's it. I think I gotta call it on tonight. I gotta call it. All right. Thanks, guys. That was fun. Lots of laughs. Really appreciate it. Deluxe, thank you for hanging out tonight, brother.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, man.
Thanks,
It's an
mister.
honor. I appreciate it. Love y'all guys like step cousins, man.
Redheaded step cousins.
You always have a place in my ass for. No, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be on the show again. Thank you very much for asking me. And I would love to come back on anytime, man. And I'm trying to get all y'all on my little 30-minute thing. So I think I've gotten 1, 2, 3 people. No, four. So I need to get Dom and Gary on there, and we'll be good.
There we go.
Thank y'all once again. Thank y'all very much.
Hey,
Awesome.
Deluxe, FYI, Dom will be late whenever you.
I know.
I was born late, dude. I was born a week late, so don't expect me to be on time.
All right, guys. Before we wrap up, though, Thanksgiving is this week, so shout out to everybody out there watching, listening. Happy Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy it. Just real quick, let's run it down the panel. Any Thanksgiving traditions, and what are your plans for Thanksgiving this year, if any? So, Brian Brink, I'll start with you, brother.
I am going to visit my family in Maine. My mom's side of the family. Yeah, I'll be doing that. Traditions. I mentioned this on ETR last night. We have a cutthroat game of Settlers of Catan. Might throw some Cards Against Humanity in there, but I don't know. We'll see. I doubt we'll go back to the old standard of Monopoly. This Settlers game gets vicious. I like it. It's good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. All right, Deluxe. What about you, brother?
Not doing anything. I'm gonna watch the Redskins and Cowboys play, and that's about it.
Hey, sorry about old Alex there.
Yeah, but I have faith in McCoy. I think he moved the ball real good, and I think he knows the offense real good. He knows the system, so I'm happy with him. So.
Good.
All right, sweet. All right, Dom. What about you, brother?
I'm headed up to Long Island to my sister-in-law's, and tradition. I don't have any Thanksgiving traditions. It's eat, I guess you can say.
Is your dad gonna be there? You gonna turn the lights on?
No. My dad can. Yes. I'll keep the lights on, Brian. Remember, lights on. That's when the party starts.
All right. What about you, Dave?
Well, me going to my mom's. It's gonna be my last Thanksgiving in Queens because my parents sold the house. They're moving out to Long Island, so
wow,
they're following us out here. So
All right, cool.
It's gonna be bittersweet. My brother's not gonna be there either, so it's gonna be like, kind of weird. It's gonna be just a very intimate thing, but we try to say goodbye to the house the right way. Tradition wise,
Dave's gonna be punching holes in the walls.
No, it's funny. When I moved out of the apartment, when we used to live in another part of Queens, I wrote something in the closet, like this house is haunted. I told those stories before, so it kind of was. But this time I'm not gonna go there. My parents are looking forward to the move. They wanna be done with that block and move on. So tradition wise, I hope to watch March of the Wooden Soldiers. I usually try to get that in, every Thanksgiving or around Christmas time, because I don't know, something kicks with that movie, like it brings me back.
What movie?
March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and supposedly they're gonna put it back out in black and white. So, I'd probably want to watch that. Aside from that, I just want to wish everybody a good Thanksgiving and be thankful for what you have. A lot of us in this community, we have each other to lean on. There's people out there who don't have people like us, and I think that that's very important in this, in the realm of collectors and the entire thing that we have here, Cool Table Network, everything, is that we have so many people we can connect with. So be thankful for that, if anything, and have a good day.
Dude, how am I supposed to follow that? I'm gonna look like an asshole, and I say my tradition is to watch Home Alone.
Oh, that's great. You do 1 and 2?
Just one, just the first one, the only real one.
Does the old man get to you?
Yeah, he does. But that story, right? He could be afraid of a lot of things.
Or when the mom comes home,
they're making a new one.
Never too old to be afraid. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, we're just hanging out. Just my wife and I here in the new place this year. So it's good. It's nice, relaxing, calm day. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome, man. JD, what about you, brother?
We're just going to go hang out at my brother's. I don't even know who's going to be there. I know it'll be us.
Watch your fingers in the doors.
Yeah. Play some T-ball.
Yep. We're going to bust out the T-ball bats and, all that good stuff.
Go hunting for snakes and ducks.
Absolutely. No real tradition, I guess.
Yeah.
Other than smashing fingers indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, cool. Yeah, and as for myself, I was originally intending to go down to Virginia, spend some time with the family. But with all the traveling that we've been doing over the past month or so, it's like, man, I need a break. I still feel like I'm recovering, from the conventions and stuff like that. Got vacation coming up around Christmas time, so definitely going to travel to see the family then. Other than that, going to keep it low key for Thanksgiving. Just, spend it here with my girlfriend and her son that's going to be coming through, and just try to enjoy the 4-day weekend. Relax and chill out.
Enjoy those new curtains.
Yeah. Right there.
Curtains are nice.
So on behalf of all of us here from BTM, we wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We hope the holiday is safe and that you guys enjoy it and enjoy that time with your families out there. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Before we head out, we're going to run down the line and just find out where we can find each other on social media. Brian Brink, I'll start with you, brother. Go ahead.
Hey, Brian Brink in the Facebook groups at Brinkalizer on Instagram.
All right, Deluxe, let them know.
Matthew Baldwin, whatever, and the Facebook, all that good stuff. I do reviews sometimes, just a couple sometimes. You can Hell Hasbro Reviews. You can get me on Instagram at Hell Hasbro Reviews also, and that's about it. I'm also on another podcast called Shattercast. Check us out once in a while. And once again, thank y'all for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem, brother. Thank you for taking the time, man. Appreciate it. All right, Big Dom.
You can find me in my room with the lights off, and you can definitely find me in the groups at Dominic Rosso, and that's the Instagram at Dominic Rosso 86. I'll post pictures of Dave's Thanksgiving dinner
from outside the window.
From the window.
from the
asking him for a biscuit. Hey, can you spare a biscuit, please? Please, just one little biscuit.
Just one biscuit, please.
All right, and John Alex.
Why y'all having
I'm
biscuits
hungry
on
now.
Thanksgiving?
I want fucking biscuits and cinnamon rolls for some reason, but
Yeah.
and then John Alex on Instagram.
Can I get
Maybe
a piece of pie?
Groups. We're on fucking Tuesdays with these maniacs. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, G Money.
Yeah, Gary Allen in Facebook, and I posted. We didn't get to it today, but we will next week. Some discussion around the 2019 the ROC Fitness and kind of Wellness Challenge. I posted in both. Yeah, I posted in both groups today, just to try and get some opinions. So hit me up or comment on the post if you're interested, and we're trying to raise the stakes a little bit this year, just to drive participation and execution all the way through the whole contest. And you got to play big to win big, and so by all means share your thoughts.
Does my opinion count? Because I just want to know if I have to do the if I have to put any effort.
Yeah, listen.
I know you don't care about my opinion.
If we do this again, I'm the one looking at pictures of people's feet on a scale for 90 days. So
I'm gonna paint my toenails for you.
Yo, let's get that fucking $100 buy-in, motherfuckers. Let's go. Let's make this shit worth it. Make it work.
Yeah, the more we put in, the bigger the prize. So we'll see what the consensus and see if we have enough people interested in giving it a shot again, and we'll talk some more about it next week.
That's right.
All right.
Frank's still paying for his HVAC. Let's do
it. All right. Everybody's favorite pigment surgeon.
You can find me JD Brochus in the Facebook group because I do have Facebook.
Yeah, you got his back.
Pigment surgery on Instagram and Xbox Live here every Tuesday with these fine gentlemen. And every other Wednesday on Figure Bangin'.
Yeah. The other Wednesday when we're not on.
But everybody have a safe and wonderful holiday. I love you all, each and every one of you.
Heart face.
Heart face.
Yes.
Send it.
Come on, chat. Hit that up. Make it happen. I want the last bit of this chat filled with heart faces.
Let's fucking creep out Brian Brink.
How do you make a butthole face? Is there a butthole face?
There we go. I'm gonna get started. Here we go.
There we go. Just set it off.
Let's go.
Set it off. There he goes. There he goes. All right, guys. As for myself, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Xbox Live, and the PlayStation Network, all at Harrick and BX. Here with these fine gentlemen every single Tuesday night. It's always a pleasure. And please check out Verbally Challenged with Harrick and BX, available on all audio platforms. Don't forget, guys, this podcast is available on audio through iTunes and Google Play. Subscribe, 5-star reviews, all that good stuff. I hear it really helps the show out. I'm sure it does. This episode of Breaking the Mold is sponsored by Crashbox Customs, the official Mezco supplier of the Realm of Collectors. Visit Crashbox Customs on social media for all your Mezco 112 and diorama needs. Be sure to mention the word Realm when placing an order. Realm. And you'll probably get a surprise gift with your purchase. All right, guys, check out our website, realmofcollectors.com. Join us on Facebook, where there's a group, Realm of Collectors. We're on Instagram at Realm of Collectors. Woohoo! Big surprise. This show, BTM, is a proud part of the Cool Table, so please pull up a chair. It's a network hub for like-minded podcasts, including Enter the Realm, Plastic Fanatics, Shattercast Uncut, Toy Detox, Nerd Rage Radio, Beer and Bolsters 40K, Stasis Lock, 8 weeks, building up to it, and Fresh Communication. You can find the Cool Table on Facebook, along with links to all those other great podcasts. So that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you to everybody watching and listening. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. I can smell the turkey farts.
Good night, folks.
Peace.